So, this is my Easter 2025 special, in which I repent about having been wrong about that union consciousness and the result of it all in the flesh of your twin flame union is one and not separate. Even though I lived it a tad separately myself for some time, you are not encouraged to make my mistakes, but rather to make the full physical step as well at the same time as the consciousness step that is harmonious union. So muster up more courage than I did. That's my Easter message. And I hope that makes sense already just like that. Because it is really true. And that's my step of humility that I want to make today as my Easter action, as a gift to my union and as a surrender of my union to God. That I was wrong. Union consciousness is a true space. It's a true moment that happens when you do the actual twin flame work with the key tool in the embrace of the community, with the true teacher on the hand that can give you the guidance that you need as well and can actually pass it on because they already have it and then it springs to you and you're included as well. That's how that goes. It's a very precise thing that will happen guaranteed when you do the twin flame inner work in the right way with the teacher for long enough for what is needed for uniquely you to have it, and then you just fall into it. And that will be a very precise moment that we can measure out on the exact, second. And that's not an undue statement. It's the only absolute and precise thing that will happen on your twin flame journey that can truly be measured, because I will know when, and you will know when too. You will just know because something different will happen. Something qualitatively different will happen in your inner space, and you will know it. And it can be acknowledged and deepened out with the teacher. And that is a crucial time for you to stay close to the teacher as deeply as you can, as close as you can, for quite some time as well. Because then you'll guarantee yourself that you can really start to work that out, like deepen that out when you reach that, and start the beautiful healing wave that comes to you afterwards in the right way as well, etc. It's a crucial, vulnerable time for you. And that's the consciousness work. It will happen for you. It did happen for my students. I have brought 4 students out of a whole bunch, and 4 of them were sticking with me deep enough and long enough so that they could reach it, and they did reach it. 4 times that happened in my career until today. And you could be the next, you could be the 5th, right? And the quickest I have seen from my students is in 4 months and 4 days. So as far as I'm concerned, you could be quicker. Let's do it in 3 months for you. That would be fine for me. It is necessary. It is absolutely necessary that you reach this state, because then we know that you will be with your true twin flame. It will be lasting. It will be in the joy it is supposed to be about. It will open the door to your true soul's abundance in everything that is fit for you, such as wealth, health, energy, resources, relationships, and everything else. Soul money, of course, too. Soul family. Oh gosh. Yeah, all of it. So these are some things that belong to that idea and but actually fact of your harmonious union consciousness state. You need that, and then it'll all fall into place. And you're just sure that you do the actual twin flame thing, and you're not in a fantasy, you're not in a cult, you're not fantasizing, you're not delusional, you're not bullshitting everyone by opening your own YouTube channel and bullshitting around about twin flames while not having it. No, you actually have it. That's what that means. And it just means that you will be actually happy. And I'm just so happy for you that you are really, truly happy. Truly happy. That's what that means. And that's what I pass on. That is my work by the grace of Divine Mother only, because I surrendered my life to her. And she takes over. I can't do it alone. I don't do it alone. She does it, but she does it through me. And in that communication, that chain of communication, I am very important to you. Okay, so that's how it works. And that's what my work is. And that's what my students do. And that's what is done already. And that's, actually all of this is a miracle. It's absolutely wondrous and beyond beautiful. There's just really life force energy bomb. Wonderful. There are no words to express the wondrous nature of what this is. It's just divinely beautiful. But in another sense, this is just a part of what will happen so that you can integrate all of this in life. And even integrate all of this in like the bigger spiritual path that I stand for, and that you can sink deeper into and whatnot, right? And you can let this sink into and integrate into your actual life and your mission life and your work life and your family life and your dream life and your home life and in your health life and in your food life and in your sex life and in your clothes life and in your social life. And that's what my work is all about, to let you integrate that in all of these places. And even guide you with like a broader spiritual path that has this potential as the epitome of, well, what this time is about in human history, to integrate that part, the harmonious union, with your true twin flame. That's just the latest thing that came to me to pass that on. So that's what we do here. This became my work. And I will tell you, almost against my will, as it were. Because I didn't want that. I didn't want to become a crazy person that talks about this silly topic that everyone makes out to be a cult and a pipe dream. And you know what the problem is? For a large part, that's true. Because there is a lot out on this topic. Is it really that topic? You could really question that. That is just batshit crazy bullshit. Well, okay, it's just not the truth. It's just not the real thing. It's just not the real thing. But it has that word, twin flame. So to sort of associate myself to this phenomenon of, let's say, that silly word that is, well, frankly, misused widely in so many media, on social media, etc. Well, that's one aspect of why that was actually unattractive to do that. Divine Mother personally had to persuade me for many, many, many years and push me beyond my incredible shyness to do this. And eventually I did it. Because I don't do it anymore. I just surrendered. I don't know what we're doing, but I do. Because through me, Divine Mother knows. And I am an important aspect of that chain of command, for sure. But not because of my personal will, because I exchanged that for Divine Mother's will. That's what I mean. So, but here's the thing. In my personal twin flame journey, when I had not arrived yet, that has taken me some decades, which is like silly in itself. Because now I can guide it for you so much quicker. I mean, part of the fact that I do this and the fact of its effectiveness and the fact that it is very valuable is that I present something that can make it for you so much quicker, like you can't believe. You don't need to spend 4 decades. You spent, well, what did we say? 4 months and 4 days. For one student, that was the case. So don't do what I did. I'm just a silly example that eventually surrendered to Divine Mother. But don't be like I was. I did everything wrong. I believed all the stupid, silly stuff about twin flames as well in the past. Because I didn't know any better until I did. So here's the thing. I spent 4 decades along the lines of that. And then I got into the Harmonious Union consciousness state. Now, that fell for me after like 3.5 months, I guess, after we had come to union. But this union, well, almost spectacle, this union firework that it really was in the flash as well, was really well, spectacular that it was also so scary. And in a sense, relatively speaking, so inconvenient because he was still entrenched in something else and I was still entrenched in deep trauma. That even though we did reach that consciousness state 3.5 months afterwards, just as a matter of letting the natural results of that union come to its full fruition for a change, instead of all these earlier times that I had already met him, and the full union hadn't happened yet, and the full consequence of that union on the consciousness space had thus also not happened. But now the full union had happened also romantically, and we got all the aspects together, also the sexual aspect, everything was there. And then 3.5 months later, that had sunken in the heart, and we could go as a result also to the full consciousness shift that I now say that it is all about. But then in our specific individual case, we didn't at that moment, 3.5 months later, stick together or go together again physically in a physical relationship. What you guys think about that it must be all the time, and it is. Don't get me wrong, it is. Don't be mistaken about that. It is about that, but it comes from the deeper place first. You need that consciousness space to make it about the joy, to make it sustainable, to make it about the true thing that you 1000% sure know is the true thing, that it is about opening the door to your abundance. And your teacher knows that too. And it's just all completely packaged in something that cannot be made undone anymore. That's what that consciousness state is for. You need that. But for us individually, in our unique case, we didn't at that same time step into the physicality of it again or continue that physicality immediately at that moment of the consciousness state shift. And there is a lot of compassion for that. And there is a lot of reasons for that that are so understandable. And there's a lot of trauma healing in that could thus happen first. And there's a lot of physical and even financial and familial healing that was possible through that. And there was a lot of mind healing and emotional healing and psychological healing that was possible because of that. And there was a lot of compassion for some other intimate people that are surrounding our union that are very important as well. That was possible through that, perhaps. And there was a lot of like soul felt understanding for that. There was this longing in both of our individual hearts that we wanted to sort of close off a certain experience that we were having that was not physically 100% yet what we all think that it should be, like we first needed to close that off or like live that fully out or like complete it or something. And then that completion of that one would also be the start of the physicality of together, And there's a lot of compassion for that. And like the amount of healing that was in that enormous after Harmonious Union, the consciousness state healing wave that came over us, that's just immense. And it will happen to you too. And these things are what it's all about. And it is profound. And it was changing everything as a result because the consciousness had shifted already and was already accepted at the core. And a lot can be said about that. And maybe that happens for you a little bit about that as well. And maybe it is explainable by saying that, the flesh is a little bit slow sometimes. The world is a little bit slower it comes sort of after the core. The spiritual core has already decided. It's already there, but the world, the flesh is just a little bit slow. And it just, what do they say? Maybe that's a Dutch expression, which is my mother tongue, my mother culture. I think they say that, at least in my country, de ziel reist te paard. The soul travels by horse. The soul travels on horseback. Is that an English expression? Or is that like bullshit in English? But in my culture, it is something. Anyway, so that means the same. It means that, there's a certain lag in like the making come true of these things for real. And that's acceptable when you keep in the consciousness state. Keep in it, for God's sake. Don't leave that. Don't turn your back on it. Keep in the consciousness state. Keep it and keep on working in it and on it, and let it work on you. And don't leave that process. Oh, for God's sake, don't, because people do. I have seen that in people around me, also people that I have guided personally. They turn their back on that process. Well, that's not necessary. Don't do that. I didn't, so. I mean, I believe that is the core. But for me, the time has come to end that in between state and confess, as my Easter confession, with huge sincerity, that it is wrong and unnecessary, in the sense of unnecessary. Union consciousness is the physicality of being together. At the same time, because time doesn't exist. It's one. It happens simultaneously. Guaranteed. End of story. And I repent. So I just want to express my contrition about, well, going against God, myself. Because I was afraid. Yeah, and now I see that I see through the fear, and the fear has dissolved. And it's nothing. It didn't even exist. And we're still at the same moment. And you don't need to celebrate your lag. It could be there, and that's okay, but don't use it. Don't be silly like me. Just make it physical. At the same time, because time doesn't exist anyway. And fear is not real. And again, I have figured that out with all my might and all my work and my effort and my resources for you, so that you don't need to be as silly as I was. So please, may that be the lesson of today.